What is going on, everybody? My name is Matt. Welcome back to Three and Out Sports Podcast. Today is Friday, which I'm now labeling a Football Friday. So every week on Friday, I'm going to do a show that is nothing but football. So on today's show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on my high chair here. I am on the College Football Playoff Committee. I'm going to give you my top six teams as if I was picking for the college football playoffs. Those rankings will be coming out soon, so I think it's a good time to start thinking about that. Also, I'm going to give you my college football picks for this weekend. I'm going to pick straight, and I'm also going to pick against the spread, and I'm going to do the same thing for the NFL as well. So starting off today's show at first down, what I'm going to do is I've been chosen to be on the college football playoff committee. Yes, me. So I am going to pick the top six teams as if I was actually picking for the playoffs. So these might not be the top six teams of the country, but I'm going to let you know, I'm going to give you my opinions on this. So starting this off with my number six team, I have the Washington Huskies. Now, they are undefeated, but they haven't really had any impressive wins. They struggled the first week against Rutgers. They haven't played anybody. I do believe that when you're picking for these, reputation and coaching has a big part of it. And Washington, just in the college football playoffs last year, they have a great coach. I feel that this would be the number six team right now. And they also, in future, looking at it, they have some games to prove to themselves if they are going to be in the top four. So right now, I have them ranked at number six, and we'll see soon if this team's going to be in the discussion for it or if they're just going to drop off completely. My number five team is the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, they are the number four team, I believe, in the country right now. This is a big one for me because, I'm picturing that I'm on that playoff committee and I'm going off what they've done in the past. And you haven't seen two teams from one conference in there before. Now, Georgia has two ranked wins this year. They went to Notre Dame, which at the time was ranked number 24, and beat them. And they also beat Mississippi State at the time, where they were ranked number 17 at home. They do have a road win against Tennessee, which I think is a pretty good conference road win, and they still have a lot of time to prove themselves. And also, if they keep winning, they'll face up against Alabama in the SEC Championship. Right now, I have them as my number five team, but I do see them, if they do win out and they have that chance to beat Bama, that they can move up into the top four. But knowing that I have Alabama in my top four, I just haven't seen that the committee will do that yet, so that's why they're my number five team. So my number four team, a little bit of a shock for many people. I have TCU. Now, they have beat Arkansas in the non-conference, but they have one of the most impressive wins in college football that, in out of these six teams, with their win at Oklahoma State. At the time, they were number six in the country. They also beat West Virginia as well, who was number 23 at the time. So they have two big-time wins, and I think one of the most impressive wins out of this group of teams. At number three, I have the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, they have that big win against Iowa, and if anyone knows about playing any game in conference on the road at night, no matter what conference it is, it's a tough game. And Penn State went into Iowa at the time knocking on the door to be in the top 25, and they had their quote-unquote walk-off there. Other than that, they haven't really been tested. They've had some MAC game wins and all that, but this schedule for them heats up. They have 3 straight games against ranked opponents within the Big Ten, as of right now, if these teams keep winning. They start off against Michigan. Then they got Ohio State. Then they got Michigan State. Like, that's a crazy 3-week stretch. So we'll know a lot more about Penn State here a month from today. At number 2, I have Clemson. Clemson has beat 3 ranked teams. They have the most big-time wins for everyone. They beat Auburn in Auburn. I really do love that this team is doing right now. They do have a game tonight against Syracuse. I don't see that being a problem, but Clemson is my number 2 team. And number 1 is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, they beat up. They have. I want to go back and say, hey, Georgia or TCU had the best win of the year. Alabama week 1 against Florida State, they dominated. They physically mauled Florida State to the point where they almost gave. Florida State pretty much gave up. So their week 1 win was just as impressive as a TCU win for me. they haven't looked terrible. They had the Texas A&M game last week was kind of like, whoa, what was that? But I think that was just a blip on the radar. They're going to come out this week and blow up the Arkansas. So right now, top 6 teams. We have the Washington Huskies 6, Georgia Bulldogs 5, TCU Horned Frogs at 4, the Penn State Nittany Lions at 3, Clemson at number 2, and Bama number 1. So that leads with it would be a Bama Penn State and Clemson TCU finals right there. So those are my top 6 teams if the playoffs started today. All right, guys, now moving on to second down. So I was thinking of cool segments to do on this Football Friday. And for me, I'm very nerdy when it comes to this. Love doing this. I love picking college football games straight up and also against the spread. So I thought I would use that as a cool segment. You can use these if you gamble at home. Just don't come at me if I got it wrong, because these are what my opinions are. So how I got my spreads. Now, I look at ESPN as of about 5 o'clock Friday. So if you're waking up Saturday and the line's a little different than it is Friday at 5, I apologize, but this is what I think at the time that I'm doing this podcast. So the first game I'm going to pick is Ohio State traveling to Nebraska. Now, straight up, easy win, Ohio State. Against the spread, they're 24.5-point favorites. Normally, that's a little high. I just think Nebraska's on such a low right now, and teams are running all over them. I think Ohio State's going to win by 30-plus points and also control the game where Nebraska can't score a lot. So I have Ohio State straight up and also against the spread. The second game I'm going to pick is South Carolina traveling to Tennessee. Now, Tennessee are 3-point favorites in this game, and I actually like South Carolina, so I like them straight up. So if you're going to give me points, and I also like the team, yeah, I'm going to take them. So I have against the spread, getting 3 points. Give me those 3 points, please. South Carolina wins that. The next game we're going to go into, Texas Tech at West Virginia. So this is one of those games where I think the game's more of a coin flip. So I think West Virginia is going to win this game. They are also 3.5-point favorites, but I believe this is going to be a field goal game or a 1-point game in that area. I think a last-second field goal is going to win it. So I am actually going to take Texas Tech getting 3.5, but straight up, West Virginia will win the game. So the next game, again, I have one of those situations. It's Michigan versus Indiana. Now, Michigan, I am going to think they're going to win this straight up. I don't like the turnover machine O'Korn at their quarterback position. So the Michigan Wolverines are 8-point favorites. So I'm actually going to take Indiana. Give me those 8 points, but Michigan straight up. Next game, I think these next 2 games for me are very easy to pick, but I thought they were intriguing games because of the spread. So NC State at Pittsburgh, I have NC State winning. They're also 11-point favorites. I'll lay the points there. Boston College goes to Louisville, so I have Louisville winning straight up. Louisville's 21.5-point favorites there. I still think they'll cover, so Louisville against the spread and straight up. Now, one of the most intriguing games of the whole weekend when it comes to betting for me, or picking these, I'm not actually betting, but picking these, is Auburn at LSU. Now, I really like LSU at home. It's one of those mid-afternoon going into nighttime games down in Death Valley. LSU, I know, lost to Troy at Death Valley. I think that was just a blip on the radar. They came back next week and got a big win. I like Auburn to win this game, but being 7.5-point favorites, I think LSU is going to keep this within a touchdown. So I have Auburn straight up. LSU, give me those 7.5 points. Next game I have is Navy and Memphis, and I went over this in my midweek mix podcast. I think this is going to be one of the most intriguing games of the whole weekend just because both teams have dynamic offenses, but they do it 2 completely different ways. It's just a beautiful thing to watch. Navy's triple option running attack against Memphis's air raid, go ahead, everything there. I actually, so Memphis is actually 3.5-point favorites. Navy's ranked 25th right now in the nation. So I actually have Navy winning this straight up. And if you're going to give me points if I have them winning straight up, I love it. So they got 3.5 points there. Last 2 games of the weekend, Bama at Arkansas and Michigan State at Minnesota. So Bama are minus 31.5 points. It's a huge amount of points to lay there. So I obviously think obviously Alabama's going to beat Arkansas. So I have to look at Arkansas's team. And I just saw a couple weeks ago Texas A&M put up 50 points on them, and last week Texas A&M had a problem moving the ball against Alabama's defense. So I'm sitting there going, yeah, I don't think that Arkansas is going to score freely. I think Bama will cover that 31.5 points. Finally, the last matchup that I'll be picking in the college football picks is Minnesota and Michigan State. So Minnesota's at home. It's a little bit of a weird spread. Michigan State is a 4.5 point favorites. They're newly ranked coming off that big win in Michigan. I have Michigan State winning this straight up. I also have them covering the spread. It just seems a little weird to me. I know it's in Minnesota, but they're not really that good. They haven't played anyone great. I mean, they let Maryland go in there and beat them, so I really do think that Michigan State's going to win by 2 touchdowns here. All right, guys, finally moving on to third down here. So in third down, I'm going to do the same thing I just did in second down, but with the NFL. So I'm going to pick straight up against the spread, and in this, I have a little wrinkle. Every week, I'm going to give you my upset of the week. This week it's in the NFL, and if you've been listening to my podcast and the top 10 rankings, you're going to be very shocked by the team that I picked for the upset. So let's get it started. First game I'm going to go over is Cleveland at Houston. So Cleveland's starting a new quarterback. Houston's lost a little bit on defense. Deshaun Watson looks amazing. Texans are going to win straight up. Now, against the spread, the Texans are 9-point favorites. In the NFL, it's a big number, and I know the laughingstock that the Cleveland Browns are. I'm a Browns fan, so I know this. But what I do know also with the Browns this year, outside of Cincinnati and being dogs, they've covered. So I'm sitting there going, 9 points is a big number. I do believe with the transition at quarterback, the Texans will end up winning, I think, by 10, maybe 13 points. So I'll take the Texans -9 there. The next game is Miami at Atlanta. Now, Atlanta coming off a bye, getting a little healthy. Miami's playing so bad right now. It does think, I'm trying to think there and go will Miami cover? It's 12.5 points, and that's a huge number to lay in the NFL. But so I have Atlanta winning straight up. That was an easy pick for me. I do believe Atlanta is going to win by 17 points, so I'll lay the 12.5 points there, take Atlanta, and just cross my fingers. Next game, Chicago at Baltimore. Now, Baltimore are 6-point favorites. So I'm looking over at this. I do like what Chicago's doing. I know they've been hit with a lot of injuries. They've had some close games. So I like Baltimore to win this game. I think this game is going to be more of a 20-17 or 24-21 type. So keeping it within 6. Give me the 6 points with the Bears, but I have Baltimore winning straight up. The next game I have is the Packers at the Vikings. It's a little bit of a weird spread for me. The Packers are playing really well right now. They're 3-point favorites, only 3. I'm trying to think what's Vegas telling me there, and I just don't see it. The Vikings have a lot of injuries to deal with right now. Packers are playing at the top of their game. I know it's in Minnesota. I'll lay the 3 points. I'll take the Packers straight up and against the spread. This next game is it's the last game that I picked because I have no idea what to go with. We have the Detroit Lions going to New Orleans to face the Saints. Now, I really don't know where to go with this. I know the Saints are coming off a bye. They had just won their last game was in England, and they won 20-0 against Miami. Miami's playing really bad. I'm trying to sit here going back and forth. So I went with my initial gut. The Saints are 3.5-point favorites at home. I think the Lions are going to win this game straight up. So if I think the Lions are going to win the game straight up, give me the 3.5 points too. I'll take that. This game right here was the easiest game for me to pick. The New England Patriots are going to the Jets. The Jets are playing really, I would say really well. They're above expectation, but New England's been, playing really poor. There's a lot of media mocking them. Tom Brady's taking all these hits. I think they're going to come out and try to put up a 21-point win against the Jets. I mean, it's a huge game in the NFC East. So I have the Pats straight up. They're 9.5-point favorites. I think they're going to clearly take that number. I know it's a big number to lay, but I'm going to take the Pats -9.5, easy money right there. The next game we have the 49ers traveling to Washington. Now, it's a 10.5 point spread. The Redskins are 10.5 point favorites. That's a big number in the NFL. I know the 49ers are traveling to the East Coast, and there's all those kind of things that go into it, but I think the Washington will win the game, but give me those 10.5 points with the 49ers. Next, we have Tampa at Arizona. For me, this is easy. I think Tampa's the better team. They're going to win. They're only a 1.5 favorite, so I'll easily lay that 1.5 there because I think they're going to win by a touchdown going away. The next game, a very intriguing game that I wouldn't have thought at the beginning of the year that would be intriguing. We have the Rams traveling to Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Jaguars are playing really well right now. They're 2.5 point favorites. I think they're going to win by a touchdown here. The defense is playing well, so give me the Jags, and I'll lay the points. And then we have the Chargers going to Oakland. I have the Raiders -3. I'll take that. I also will take them straight up. The Giants and Broncos. Broncos are 11.5 point favorites. That's a big number, but the Giants are just ravished with injuries. I don't like what's going on, so I'll take the Broncos. I'll lay the 11.5 points. The Monday night game is the Colts at Tennessee. It's a pick 'em right now, and I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans. And now my upset of the week, Pittsburgh going to Kansas City. Now, I know why pick Pittsburgh. They're playing so bad. This has everything to... I've seen throughout the years, Pittsburgh's backs up against the wall, and they always go out and win that one game that you're sitting there going like, oh, that changed the season around. And I believe this is it. Now, I love what Kansas City's doing, but the offense has been more on a mobile quarterback and Kareem Hunt and Alex Smith moving around the pocket, making great throws out of there. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that plays to their strength. They have fast young linebackers and ends that'll get out there and contain them. And I think against the run, they're very good, and Kareem Hunt will be neutralized. The Pittsburgh Steelers are dogs for 3.5 points. I'll take those 3.5 points. I think the Steelers win straight up there too. So my upset pick of the week, Pittsburgh over Kansas City. All right, everyone, that is it for today's show. I want to thank you guys for listening. Now, in the comment section below, do you like Football Friday concepts? I know it's nothing new in the radio world, but do you like me doing it? Do you like the way I am doing it currently? Please let me know in the comment section below. Also, leave me some of your picks. Who do you think are going to win? Do you disagree with some of them? Do you agree? Love to get some feedback from you on that. In the description, I have a Twitter. I also just added an Instagram and a YouTube link in there. Go down there, click, like, follow. Would love to have some more feedback on those as well. So, my name is Matt. Those are my 3 topics, and I'm out. Peace!